Chapter 740, The Heir-Heiress of the East Region Saint Mansions. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. In all of Kunlun's field, only 108 monks were qualified to sit in the king's seats. How fierce the competition was! Even a saintly being had to weigh whether his cultivation and realm were powerful enough to sit in the king's seats. Above the king's seats was the mountain top, where there were 9 heir seats. Only those eligible to be the heirs of Kunlun's field could sit here with the saint lady on equal terms. The 9 heir seats were more than just seats, they represented supreme glory and status. Thus, numerous people flocked to them. Beneath Scroll Mountain, countless young monks were staring eagerly at the 9 seats. They were willing to pay with their lives just to sit on the seats, even if only for a while. The Kunlun Heirs Banquet is bound to be a grand contest among young talents, said Heir-Heiress. I'm afraid it will be the limelight of the Sword Technique Conference. The Sword Technique Conference would be held in a month, and only swordsmen were allowed to participate. It could not compare to tonight's Kunlun Heirs Banquet in terms of scale or quantity of young masters. The Kunlun Heirs Banquet cast the Sword Technique Conference into the shade. They're different. Zhang Yuochen shook his head. The Kunlun Heirs Banquet is aimed at young monks. The Sword Technique Conference is mainly for senior sword practitioners to perceive the wordless sword manual and exchange their understanding of the Tao of the Sword. For sword practitioners in the Fish Dragon realm, it is a rare opportunity to compete in the Sword Technique Conference. The elder sword practitioners are spectators of the younger's performances of Tao of the Sword. It adds more fun to the conference. It's possible that the Qi sect, the Yin and Yang sect, the Four Symbols sect and the Baguous sect are the only ones who take the performances of the sword practitioners in the Fish Dragon realm seriously. After all, the battle among the 4 forces younger generation will decide who will own the sword pavilion. It is a remarkable event. Heir-Heiress understood everything at once. Since the Kunlun Heirs Banquet is about to be held, isn't it absurd for sword practitioners in the Fish Dragon realm to perform in the Sword Technique Conference? Zhang Yuochen nodded and spoke cautiously. For you, it is. But for disciples from the Yin and Yang sect, the Sword Technique Conference results are more important than the Kunlun Heirs Banquet. But there have always been troublemakers at the Sword Technique Conference. 800 years ago, the young Sword Emperor defeated all the young sword practitioners from the Qi sect and the other 3 sects. He humiliated them with his forceful ability. I doubt there will be any troublemakers in this year's Sword Technique Conference, Heir-Heiress replied. Tonight, all the powerful monks will turn up for sure. To become an heir of Kunlun's field is more pragmatic than making fame at the Sword Technique Conference. Yes, you're right. Zhang Yuochen's eyes lit up with excitement. Staring at the Scroll Mountain, he said to himself, the Kunlun Heirs Banquet tonight is sure to go down in history. It will usher in an unprecedented heyday of martial arts. At the foot of Scroll Mountain, a 10-meter wide road was piled up with scrolls, leading to the mountain top. The gate at the foot of the mountain was a scene of chaos. Hundreds of thousands of warriors were competing, and various genuine martial arms were crashing with each other. The occasional holy weapon flew out to knock down a group of monks. The spectacle looked like a massive war. In the scuffle, a number of monks had been knocked down before they even got to the entrance. Every 15 minutes, a few monks were able to fight their way out and begin climbing the mountain. There were no weak, only masters who had long enjoyed good reputations. Even on the way up Scroll Mountain, climbers were continuously knocked down. It was rare for monks to be able to hold on to their seats for a long time. With 2 screams, Xingkong and Chankiki dropped from Scroll Mountain, both bathed in blood and injured badly. Huang Yanshan immediately sent the royal guards from the East Region Saint Mansions to carry them down. Clearly enough, with their current ability, Xingkong and Chankiki were unable to take part in the Kunlun Heirs Banquet. They were not qualified even for talent seats, the 4th-class seats. Your cultivation isn't good enough, Zhang Yuochen said as he took out 2 6th-level healing pills and handed them to Chankiki and Xingkong. Thank you. Xingkong lay on the stretcher coughing up blood. He took the pill and closed his eyes to heal his injury. Lying on another stretcher with a pale look, Chankiki took the healing pill from Zhang Yuochen. He fixed his eyes on him, and then shifted to Huang Yanshan. saying, "Junior sister apprentice Huang, you have to ally with others to climb up Scroll Mountain. If you go by yourself, you'll easily be beaten down." Chang Kiki hinted that Huang Yanjun should form an alliance with Lin Yue. After all, Lin Yue's powerful ability was visible to everyone. Huang Yanjun nodded and beckoned for the royal guards of the East Region Saint Mansions to carry them down. Huang Yanjun cast her eyes at Scroll Mountain and sighed. The Saint Academy in the Eastern Region has many powerful geniuses, but lacks a master soul who can rally and unite these geniuses. They rush up like soldiers without a commander. Very few monks can sit tight on the seat. She paused and added, "If Zhang Yuochen were still alive, the Eastern Region Saint Academy's saints would not be so competitive about tonight's Kunlun Heirs banquet." Her eyes blurred, as if she was recalling something. Hearing his name, Zhang Yuochen could not help but change his expression slightly. "If you can't rely on the Eastern Region Saint Academy, why not turn to the East Region Saint Mansions for help? As far as I know, aren't there several talents and geniuses in the mansions?" Huang Yanjun shook her head with a slight frown. "Four heirs in the East Region Saint Mansions are fighting among themselves, because each of them desires to go higher. Whoever can win honor for the East Region Saint Mansions at the Kunlun Heirs banquet will have a greater voice in the Saint Prince's mansion. I do have a few trusted followers in the Saint Prince's mansion, but unfortunately, their cultivations haven't fully developed. They are of little use to me for now." Huang Yanjun was both one of the saints of the East Region Saint Mansions and an heiress of the East Region Saint Mansions. But Huang Yanjun had just become an heiress. She had a rather weak foundation in the Saint Prince's mansion. She could not compare to the other heirs yet at all. Besides, she was the youngest among them, and correspondingly, her cultivation was weaker. Even the weakest of the three heirs was a realm higher than her. Rumble. A Killin chariot charged from the distance. Its 10-meter-high shafts crushed out two deep tracks and made the ground shake slightly. An ice of profound Killin pulled the carriage. It was a 6th-level superior class savage beast. It could emit chilly icing air that froze the ground for hundreds of kilometers. A young man in his 20s stepped out of the Killin chariot. He was dressed in a golden armor and he held a holy weapon bronze dagger axe in his hand. It was Chen Tanping, an heir of the East Region Saint Mansions. His strength was so powerful that his cultivation had reached the 9th change of the Fish-Dragon realm. Chen Tanping stood beside the chariot, looking down at Huang Yanjun, with a sneer. "The Kunlun Heirs banquet is very important. Why are there so few warlords around, cousin Yanjun?" His eyes smoldered with exultation as he looked back at the Killin chariot. Zhang Yuochen cast his eyes in that direction and noticed 8 warlords at the 9th change of the Fish-Dragon realm following the chariot. The 8 warlords were dressed in golden armor. Their skin shone brightly. 8 mighty clouds of holy chi burst out from them, forcing any nearby monks to recede. No one dared to step closer. Obviously, the 8 warlords had been carefully selected by Chen Tanping and would follow him to participate in the Kunlun Heirs banquet. Huang Yanjun remained calm and showed no sign of weakness. "Every guest is permitted to bring 2 royal guards to the banquet." "Cousin Tanping, what's the use of bringing so many people?" Chen Tanping laughed, as he walked down from the Killin chariot. "I'm only bringing 2 royal guards. The other 6 are just accompanying me to climb Scroll Mountain. They aren't my royal guards." The Saint Lady had made it a rule that every guest was only allowed to bring 2 royal guards. This was to prevent Great Force's disciples from possessing all the seats. But Chen Tanping had found a flaw in the rule. Outwardly, only 2 royal guards were coming with him. In fact, the other 6 royal guards assisted him in cleaning up the road ahead and going higher. As soon as he sat on the seat, the 6 royal guards stopped helping him. If Chen Tanping hoped to sit tight, he had to rely on himself and the 2 royal guards. As an heir of the East Region Saint Mansions, Chen Tanping's power was not weak. He was fully confident that as long as he could make it to the seat, he could sit for a long time.